Oh my goodness. Movie 101 review. Comedy 101, take two. Movie 101 review is created to empower our movies itself. And of course, my legendary co-host, Mr. Bob Lam. I'll make it
How are
three.
you doing tonight, Daniel?
Wow. Fabulous and excellent. Can I?
Fabulous.
Yeah, fabulous and excellent, Mr.
Fantastic.
Bob. Fantastic. What else? We need to have these positive words. Be
Yes.
optimistic always. Fantastic, fabulous, excellent. What else? Energetic. All
That's
of the
good.
above.
Energetic,
Yeah.
vibrant,
Vibrant. Mysterious.
mysterious. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Scintillating.
Oh, I like that. Titillating. Oh my goodness. Oh my, Mr. Bob. So, yes. How's my partner?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's still cold. I'm ready for spring, but I think we got another month or so for winter. So
Almost there. Only 4
yeah,
weeks.
almost there. Almost there.
Only 4 weeks and spring.
Well, we'll
And
see.
then,
For us, they do the Groundhog Day is
oh,
coming up,
yes,
I think,
yes, yes.
tomorrow, and then we'll find out the groundhog sees his shadow or not, and then that'll tell us if we're going to have 7 more weeks of winter or not. So we'll see. I think he's going to. We're going to have more winter. That's my guess. Yeah. No good.
So do you think that's credible enough? No.
Well,
Why is that?
I think he's got a pretty good hit rate, so it's as good as anyone, right? So better than me. I would just say we're always going to have more winter. That would be my thought. Yeah.
This is Bob Lemon Day. Let's figure it out. What's the winter or summer or fall?
Yeah, winter or spring.
At least you are upgraded.
Yeah,
You upgraded for
want,
4th season. The groundhog was only what?
Right.
Summer, winter,
I want
and
3 seasons. I want fall, spring, and summer.
yeah.
Winter I could do without. We just could leave that off the table. But I like fall.
Yes,
I like
yes.
fall. I like spring. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So let's do the Bob Lemon Day. Okay, starting today. Let's start, Mr. Bob.
Okay.
What the winter? What can you see about the winter, Mr.
Oh
Bob?
no, I know it can't be over soon enough.
Oh, no. What is it?
I don't know. It just
Feeling.
yeah. Well, I think when you're younger, it's more fun, and then as you get older, winter is less fun.
Yes,
'Cause
true.
it's always a hassle, and then you got to deal with snow and
Shovel.
ice and everything, and then it's always a big pain in the neck. When you're young, you're like, I want a snow day. I don't want to go to school. I want to run around outside in the snow. And when you get old, you're like, don't want that anymore.
Yes, getting older, people is less and less and less and for what is inconvenience?
Yes, the
I forget about.
inconvenience of it all. Yes, exactly.
Mm.
And it's too cold, and yeah, I don't know. My garage door getting stuck. I don't want to deal with it.
Well,
Well, you want to hear
thank
about
God that
tonight's movie?
in our. Oh yes, go ahead, Mr. Bob.
Okay.
Before we forget our podcast, what will be a feature movie of the day of the night?
Okay, so I don't think we've ever
We
done
need a
one of
drum roll.
these, and so that's why we're doing one tonight. So we've never done a documentary, have we?
No, not yet. That's
Well,
interesting.
tonight's the night.
Interesting.
We're doing a documentary.
Oh
So
wow.
we're going to talk about one, and you can look this up here. It's called Secret Mall Apartment. Secret Mall Apartment.
Secret small apartment.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And it
What the hell is
is
that?
yeah, well, exactly. What the hell is that? It's It's a
Small secret.
documentary.
Mm.
I'll let you try. You're gonna get it up on your screen there.
Yes, I'm gonna do it now.
Okay.
Apartment
Secret Mall Apartment
documentary.
is the name of it, and it's. I'll read you the synopsis here, right?
Okay. On
So
Netflix.
yeah, on Netflix. So in 2003, 8 young Rhode Islanders create a secret apartment in a hidden space inside the Providence Place Mall and lived in it for 4 years, filming everything along the way. They snuck in furniture, tapped into the mall's electricity, and even secretly constructed a brick wall with a locking door, smuggling in over 2 tons of cinder blocks and furniture.
Oh wow.
Far more than just a wild prank, the secret apartment became a deeply meaningful place for all its inhabitants, a personal expression of defiance against the local gentrification, and a boundary pushing work of public private art, a clubhouse to coordinate their artistic charity, and finally a 750 square foot space that sticks it to the man. There you go.
Stick it to the man.
Sticks
Wow.
it to the man. So this is a documentary like I just read about some people at the in Rhode Island in 2003. They were in the Providence Place Mall, and it started out as like a dare. So they were at the mall, and they dared each other. There's 4 of them. They dared each other who can stay overnight in the mall. Just one night. And
Just one night.
Just one night. And so during that dare, this guy named, I think his name is Mark. Let me look real quick here. Michael Townsend and his wife, Adriana, they were looking for a place to spend the night at the mall and not get caught. And so he had remembered watching the mall get built in the late 90s. And he goes, I think there's a spot in the mall that is empty. And so they went and looked around. They got in behind the scenes and went and looked around. And sure enough, they found this kind of triangle shaped room that didn't have it was open, but you could only get there by climbing up this ladder. And so they ended up spending the night in that room. And the other guys that were with them went separately, and they actually spent the night in the parking garage and found a pylon, kind of like a support area that actually had a hollow inside, and they kind of snuck inside there and spent the night. So both of them accomplished their mission to spend the night in the mall. But in finding this bigger space, this 750 square foot space, they come up with another idea, which is let's use this space for ourselves. And so then they started deciding, well, if we're going to do that, we need to have some place to sit down. So they devised a plan, and you can see there in the picture, to get a couch, a large couch, as a matter of fact, a sectional couch up there. And then they had got another couch, and then a table, and then a cabinet, and then a television and a PlayStation, because they played video games up there. And they eventually got enough furniture up there to where they were like, well, wait a minute, if somebody comes up this ladder, they can see all this stuff. And so then the next mission was to build a wall so that they could lock up their space, right?
Okay.
So
yeah.
And so then they snuck in a couple of tons of cinder blocks to build a wall, and put a door in it with their own key. So they're the only ones with the key to this space. Now, it's an interesting documentary because it's not just about them, hiding out in the mall. And in all reality, even though I read the IMDb page, they never really lived at the mall. They would stay there for a day or two, and then they had other places to live. They didn't actually live in the mall, but what they would do is they'd all meet up there because they were all artists. And so as artists, they used it kind of like a clubhouse where sometimes they'd stay there and sometimes they wouldn't, and then they'd meet up there and work on projects that they were doing in other parts of the city. They actually did a big project in New York that they planned in this space. They used it like an office, kind
Oh,
of like a
wow.
hangout in an office, more than actually living there. But obviously, it sounds more fun if it sounds like you're living in the mall, because that's, sounds interesting, right? So,
Yes.
um, and I mean, this went on. They did this for 4 years. The funny thing was, whenever they first found this space, the reason they thought they could turn it into this kind of clubhouse space is because the mall had been built in, they went up in this space and there was stuff there from when the mall was constructed. So literally nobody had been up there since the mall was built. And so they're like, well, if nobody's coming up here, then we can just be here. And so if that hadn't happened, I don't think that this little project would have worked out, because there was just, random construction materials up there that they just left because they built the place and they were done. And then nobody ever came back up there. And so if you think about it, that was 6 years, and then they were there for 4 years. So for 10 years, nobody but these folks ever went to that space. And it's just, you just
10
think about that. Yeah,
years.
for 10 years, can you imagine? And the mall had 24-hour
Hmm.
security. So there were security guards in the other parts of the mall at 24 hours a day. Somebody was there overnight. It wasn't like they just locked up and went home and then they could roam around or anything. And they didn't go roaming around in the mall part during the night. They only stayed up in their little cubby hole, so
Hmm.
that they wouldn't get in trouble. But it's wild to think that there's this giant building that has, hundreds, if not thousands, of people going through it every day, and they found a spot where nobody ever went for a decade. And so it the documentary really kind of is a thought provoking movie, in the sense that you're like, well, how many other places are there in the world like this? Because this is,
Yes.
this is not,
Bizarre.
yeah, it's not unheard of. I mean, there's
Hmm.
all kinds of big buildings that probably have,
Like that.
little spaces that no one is using, because because buildings have design, and this design of this mall was such that there was a lot of curves and things to it. And so then there's pockets of space that just could not be utilized because they wanted to make it look a certain way on the outside. And so almost all buildings, probably all large buildings, probably have this kind of space
Spacious.
in them. And
Hmm.
so it gets further into it in these people's lives, and they talk to them because they were, most of them were students. The Michael Townsend, he was actually a instructor at the Rhode Island School of Design. He was an artist, and he was teaching a lot of these students. And so he was the, kind of the instigator of things, and so forth. And everybody else was just a young student, and they're like, oh yeah, we could do this. And so it kind of became a bit of a challenge. And but they did accomplish it, like I said, for 4 years. The interesting thing is, they students had housing in an area that was kind of blighted, right? So they used to have these old factories, like mills that would make things like manufacturing, and those had all shut
Hmm.
down. And so a lot of the students and the artists were living in those old mills and using them to create their art. Like, there are large empty spaces that nobody really wanted because they were kind of run down. And what happened was when this mall got built, then all the land around, which is where they were at, became more valuable in the sense that they wanted to build more, shopping and things like that. And so the space that they were occupying got sold and torn down to build shopping centers and strip malls and all this. And so it was kind of funny that they kind of made their office in the empty space of the mall for free because they kind of got run out of their old place, which was old factories, with big open spaces for them to work on their projects. And so, but it goes much deeper than that. So, you can kind of layer upon this, what you will about how people live and how how business and commerce take over places and displace where people live, right? And so it was kind of an interesting, that's why I say sticking it to the man. It's kind of interesting in the sense that, the mall had, and it probably was more of these spaces. They didn't find the other ones, but, there's always wasted space in these commercial buildings because of the need for certain architecture looks. And so, you could house people in some of these things because, like I said, it was 750 square feet, which is not huge, but it's certainly apartment size, right? Small apartment, 750 square feet's not that, I don't know how big is your apartment or whatever, Daniel.
It's like,
do you have a small apartment or a bigger apartment?
Or do you have a house? Prefer small apartment.
That's because you're frugal.
Frugal people, frugal. Number one, it's easy to clean. Number two, less payment. Number three,
right.
frugality.
Frugality, yeah. So the interesting thing is, and they didn't go into this in the movie, but this is a fact that I think I looked up for other things, but there's more empty places to live than there are homeless people. So
True.
if these places that were empty, if you were to just put the homeless people in them, then everybody would have a home. We'd have more than enough housing for everybody. And so this is kind of like, part of their part of their thing there is that you can find these little nooks and crannies, and housing could be anywhere. So the other funny thing about this is that they almost got caught a couple of times. When they were bringing in cinder blocks one time, they the security asked them what they were doing, and basically they said, "Oh, we're working on some art, and we're bringing these things in or something." And they just go, "Okay." They didn't even think twice.
Go ahead.
And so, yeah, they weren't really lying, but they were kind of lying. And so then they had to kind of change their approach because they didn't want to get caught. And so, but yeah, like this went on for 4 years. That was the main guy there that you just saw. And the funny thing is they finally got caught because they think, so at one point they came up to the space. They had built the wall. They had put the door in. They had a lock on it where nobody had to keep it. They did. They were the ones with the key. And they came up, and somebody had busted in the door. And so they were assuming it was security or somebody from the mall. And then, but some things were missing. And so, but they didn't do anything about, they didn't find out who it was. But the thing was, they were kind of dumb in the sense that they had pictures of themselves in the space, right? So they had like a album of their art, and they were in the pictures and so forth. And so what happened was then after the break-in, they stole their PlayStation as well. After the break-in, they didn't go there during the day. They would only sneak in later. Whenever there was hardly anybody around. And but Michael, the one guy, he decided, he had a friend who came in town, And he's like, oh, let me go show you this cool space. So he went during the day, and apparently they were watching, and they came
This
in
is an
Mhm.
and they caught him. And so he actually, even though there was like 6 people involved in this whole organization of this, he's the only one that got in trouble, because he was caught there with his friend, and they got in trouble for trespassing. And so then he did have to go. I think he got paid a fine, and then he got banned from the mall for life. He could never go back into the mall.
For life. Mm. Oh my God. For life.
For
For sure, they paid
life.
for that documentaries, right? They paid
What's
for
that?
that. They paid for that. They paid for these documentaries for sure.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, while they were doing all this, because they're artists, they were actually documenting their progress. So they were documenting taking in the couch, taking in the building the wall, and taking all this
Mm.
furniture in there, and they documented how they did it. And so part of the movie is all this footage from 2003, 2004, 2003, 2004 of them doing stuff. And then they did interviews with people. And it's been, quite a long time. So the statute of limitations kind of ran out. So the other people can't get in trouble. But so I think that's why they agreed to do it. But the funny thing is, they're all still artists. They all do various have various jobs in the art world, and still do things. An interesting thing they just showed there is these tape art and these kind of weird art things that they were doing at the time, and it really was quite creative. They were really a creative bunch of people who still are creative to this day. But the attraction to me for this documentary was just I had heard about it at the time. So
Mhm.
whenever they got busted, this would have been what, 2007 ish. I remember that news story that, oh, these people had a secret, apartment in the mall. And I was so fascinated by that news story that when I happened to see this documentary out on Netflix, I'm like, oh, I got to watch that because it sounded so interesting to me. I, for one, don't understand why most shopping areas don't have apartments above them. I
Mm.
don't know why
Yeah.
they don't utilize the space better and have people, living above, even strip malls that you can always put apartments above that. And
Oh,
so
yes.
it really is kind of, they weren't really necessarily going for that. They were kind of documenting the fact that they did this, and kind of why they did it was because they kind of, lost out on other space, and they're like, well, why don't we just do this? And it just kind of was happenstance, and kind of, can we get away with this? And they obviously were able to for quite some time, and possibly even longer had they been a little bit more careful there after a while. I think they got really complacent. After a few years, you just assume, well, no one's ever going to come here. And so, yeah, the it it really is kind of fascinating. I wouldn't say it's the best documentary I've seen, but it certainly is one that is
Mhm.
more than interesting. More than interesting. Let me give you some statistics here.
Yes, I like
'Cause
that,
I know
Mr.
you love
Pat.
statistics. It's got let's see. They don't really have too much. Let me say they have money on the money things here. It was released on December 14th, 2025. Um,
Okay, last year.
it's filmed in
Okay.
Providence, Rhode Island. So they don't have what it costs, but they made $849,000 in the U.S. and Canada so far. In their opening weekend, they made $42,000. So, I mean, for a little documentary, it's done pretty well, I'd say.
Not bad.
not bad.
Hmm.
Let's see what else we got here. So it's up. It's been up for some awards.
Oh, that's
Let
why
me
they
go.
have a lot nowadays.
Yeah. So they
Mhm.
won the Sidewalk Film Award for Best Documentary. They won the Cleveland Film Festival award. They won an award at the Florida Film Festival. The Kansas City Film Critics Circle gave them award for Best Documentary. They were a nominee for the South by Southwest documentary. They were a nominee for the Hot Docs in Canada, Canadian International Documentary Festival. They were a winner for Best Documentary in the Calgary International Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
Um, they won in the Boston Independent Film Festival. And so, yeah, I mean, it goes on. There's even more wins and so forth that they did there. So the on IMDb, they have a 7.0 out of 10, which is
Hmm.
pretty good.
Not bad. Yes.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Um, and on, I'm getting over to Rotten Tomatoes here because too many ads. There's
Rotten
too many ads,
Tomatoes.
Daniel. Too many ads in this thing. And
Yes.
the
Oh,
98% on the tomato meter.
uh-huh.
For Rotten Tomatoes, 98%. That is really, really high.
98%. Yes.
I
Sorry,
would
I'm late for
probably give
that.
it. I would
For you,
probably
what is
give
it?
it an 8 on IMDb or a 4 on our popcorn meter. 4 out of 5 is what I would say. Yeah, an
Or popcorn
interesting.
for.
Yeah.
Or for. Yeah, you're getting
Now,
better, Mr. Bob.
a couple of pieces of interesting trivia for you. The film
Trivia. We love
actually
trivia,
had its
people.
yeah, actually premiered um, at the mall that they snuck into, the Providence Place Mall. They premiered at the movie theater at that mall, and for the time of the premiere, they allowed Michael Townsend back in
Oh, wow.
to go to the premiere,
Okay.
and then he got kicked back out again.
Oh my goodness. At least I have a legacy. So.
Yeah. And then the other
My
interesting
God.
thing is it was one of the executive producers of this movie is Jesse Eisenberg, who you'll know he's an actor of some note, right? And so
Mm.
he was in The Social Network, he was in Zombieland, he was in The Squid and the Whale, and then recently he was in the movie called A Real Pain, which I believe won an Oscar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
So Secret
Awesome.
Mall Apartment is worth the watch, especially if you're interested in kind of,
Intrigue.
yeah, kind of interested in this kind of idea that people are doing things behind, the commerce is back and getting away with it. That's the good part.
It's a good
The
part. Yes.
machine, they're getting away the machine of commerce. They're getting around it. So yeah, it was very good though.
Forgiven by Mr. Bob, so please do watch that Secret Mall Apartment. And Mr. Bob, is it true that all malls in the United States are closing? Why is that?
Well, that's a
Are
good
they
question. So
closing?
mall culture is waning. So yes, a lot of the malls have closed. Only a few, like for instance, here in St. Louis, there's probably about six good malls, right? And there's probably only like 2 left. So yeah, they just closed down. Just recently, here in St. Louis, there's one called the Chesterfield Mall that they bulldozed it and they're building other stuff. It's gone because people just don't. The mall culture is not what it is. What it used to be with online purchasing and Amazon and everything. Everybody just has it delivered to their house rather than going to the mall.
My apologies, people. I think I
So I'll wrap up here because Daniel has dropped off. But if you get a chance on Netflix, go to see Secret Mall Apartment. It's pretty good. Till next time. Movie 101 review. See you soon. Hey.
Hello, Mr. Bob. Yes, sorry for that disconnection. And people,
I
we want to
went ahead
apologize.
and finished the show, and I waited for the upload.
Yes,
So
and thank
you
you for
should
that.
still have everything good on that.